Breaking news this evening, and it's massive. We can't understate how huge this news is. The United States President Donald Trump has announced plans to slap the UK, Denmark and other European countries with a 10% tariff on all or any goods exported to the United States from February the 1st this year. In a statement posted to Truth Social, he said this: "We have subsidised Denmark and all of the countries of the European Union and others for many years by not charging them tariffs or any other forms of remuneration. Now, after centuries, it is time for Denmark to give back. World peace is at stake, and Russia want Greenland, and there is not a thing that Denmark can do about it. They currently have 2 dog sleds as protection," one added recently.
We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland.
Well, President Donald Trump appears dead set on seizing control of Greenland, which is currently under Danish control, of course. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has released a statement this evening. He said this: "Our position on Greenland is very clear. It is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, and its future is a matter for the Greenlanders and the Danes. We've also made clear that the Arctic security matters for the whole of NATO, and allies should all do more together to address the threat from Russia across different parts of the Arctic. Applying tariffs on allies for pursuing the collective security of NATO allies is completely wrong. We will, of course, be pursuing this directly with the US administration." And the Prime Minister has previously stood by Greenland.
The future of Greenland is for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark, and for Greenland and the future of Denmark only.
Well, this isn't a new idea, is it? But of course, President Trump tweeted about it back in 2019 with this image you can see on the screen here. And US Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has reiterated that the presidents dating back to 1800s have explored the idea of acquiring Greenland.
Acquisition of Greenland by the United States is not a new idea. This is something that presidents dating back to the 1800s have said is advantageous for America's national security.
Well, Trump's argument that annexing Greenland would protect the free world, and when you look at this location of this significant landmass, it isn't quite as bonkers as some people make it sound. So exactly where is Greenland, the biggest island mass in the world, and why is it so strategically important? Well, you can have a look at this map here. It is situated between the Arctic Ocean and the North Atlantic, just off the northeast coast of Canada, and so is officially part of the North American continent. It's got 56,000 inhabitants, half Inuit and half Danish, live on the 20% of the land which is not covered by snow and ice. The location is crucial for marine life and also international trade. Plus, and very importantly, Greenland is very veritable. It's a money pit of rare earth minerals that are key in the production of, guess what, superconductors, electric vehicles and wind turbines. And just off the island sits an estimated 31 billion barrels of oil, natural gas, of course, too, giving a golden opportunity to expand the US's mining and oil companies there too. Well, earlier this month, Greenland's government publicly reaffirmed its commitment to Denmark and NATO and rejected any notion of a US takeover, continuing political resistance to US acquisition plans, of course. I will say this. It's very important. The international consequences of this move by Donald Trump cannot be underestimated. And on this show tonight, we're going to dig into the consequences and some hypocrisies as well, by the way, as to how this could also change the world as it stands today.
This interruption is brought to you by ExpressVPN and their New Year deal. New Year, new VPN, and a huge saving of up to 80% if you act now. You're busy planning how to get in shape, but the hackers are planning how to get into your accounts. ExpressVPN locks down your connection so you can start the year protecting your data. So scan the QR code or click the link in the description now.
To kick us off, I'm joined by US political commentator Nora Lee Knotson. Laura Lee, thank you so much for joining me. I've of course got my fantastic panel joining me here this evening too. Reform UK councillor Russell Quirks joining joining me, former Labour Party chair Baroness Diane Hayter and editor-at-large at the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths. Nora, of course, I'll start with you. This is quite a significant step by Donald Trump. I didn't see this coming at all because he's in negotiations with Denmark right now. Is he serious about taking Greenland?
I think it's a very good question you ask. Is he serious? We know he's serious about the importance of Greenland for national security, and I believe the NATO allies also agree on that. And we already have an agreement with Greenland, and we've got bases all over the world, nearly 750 in 80 different countries. There's no reason why we can't have a diplomatic solution with a sovereign nation that is an ally. And it's an important time in the world that we don't want to be breaking our alliance with NATO, and that would just play into China and Russia's hand. But is he serious? I think he was probably upset by some of the allies sending troops in, so it's a response to that. But he might use this as leverage because there's a delegation going to the U.S. as we speak to talk about Ukraine and the deal with Russia. He may use it as leverage to get that peace deal done.
Nora, did our Prime Minister Keir Starmer make a mistake by sending, is it one troop? Embarrassingly, if we're going to do it, I mean, I always say, if you're going to do this, at least just send in a battalion, but one boots on the ground. Did we make a mistake doing that?
I agree. I think that is a bit laughable. I think the right thing to do is what Denmark and what Greenland have been saying is they're open to any situation really except selling Greenland that Trump would want. So you can set up any sort of commercial structure where they can invest in the mineral resources. We're not talking about a regime like Venezuela. We're talking about a democratically elected parliamentary government. So I am hopeful that we will have a diplomatic solution here.
OK, well, let's bring the rest of my panel in here. Russell, we've got a lot of political reactions here. Nigel Farage, the Green Party, issued a statement that's practically as long as Donald Trump's, actually, which is reads for 2 minutes. Trust me, I've done it myself. There's quite a big fallout here, and British politicians seem to be somewhat aligned in the sense that they don't agree that Trump's made a good decision here.
Yeah, no, I don't think we can support Trump throwing his weight around on the basis of effectively threatening a sovereign territory. Otherwise, some would argue that we're no better than Putin and Russia and what he did 3.5–4 years ago with regard to the invasion of the Ukraine. I think the big question here, though, is what is the motive here? So is it strategic militarily? Of course, there's apparently some kind of space monitoring station on Greenland, which, as I understand it, is about early warning and so on. So, of course, militarily, strategically, very, very, very important because it's at the top of the world. If there were to be an attack by Russia on the United States, that's where the missiles would go and so on. But your point about minerals is interesting, isn't it? Because that's what's been said about Venezuela, that it was not really about Maduro and narcotics. It was as much about the fact that it just so happens, Alex, by complete coincidence, to have the largest deposit of oil on the planet. So is this about gold and zinc, which, of course, is very prevalent in Greenland? Is it about those 31 billion barrels of oil, albeit hard to extract, apparently, because of the tough climate? Trump is nothing else but a deal maker. So I think all of this aggressive posturing is just designed for him to be able to get his own way, get people to the table. And as I said earlier on, I think this is just about a negotiated commercial deal. I don't think he needs the whole of Greenland, and I'm sure the 57,000 people there don't want him to have it. But you could do a lease deal with him to afford him an amount of land in the right place for him to do what he wants.
He has said, though, he wants it, though. He has said he doesn't want a deal, he wants the land.
That's the negotiation.
Right? Yeah,
well,
OK, fair enough.
Go in asking for that, knowing that you want to get that. Can I just one other quick point? I know there's other people on the panel, apparently. So it's all about me. But what Keir Starmer said, the absolute hypocrisy and audacity of a man that says this is up to the people of Greenland and Denmark. Yes. Well, did you ask the Chagossians, Keir Starmer?
You've already got on to my next point,
Sorry,
which is fantastic. No, you set me up perfectly there because I wanted to ask this to you, Diane, and I'll come to you on tariffs in a second, Charlotte, if you don't mind. But Keir Starmer comes off a little bit hypocritical when he talks about sovereignty. The Chagossians haven't had a referendum on their lands. They're calling foul, and they're taking the government to court over this decision. Is it the case where Keir Starmer just basically decides when sovereignty matters and when it doesn't?
Nobody lives in the Chagos Islands.
But there's people here that want that island back.
They don't want to move back there.
But isn't that not imperialistic?
It is completely different, and I think, to try and put the two together is really...
Well, I don't know, Diane. I don't think
it really is not.
There is such a thing as the Chagossian people.
We are talking about people who live in Greenland, who are Danish, who have Danish passports. there is not a Chagosian passport. So, these are really different.
But this is the problem, Di, because we get into trouble. But hang on, I have to pull you up on this.
Really not the same.
No, because we get into trouble when we decide if... I say to you, is it just someone become British immediately because all it is, they have a passport? Is that all that it is?
No, but they don't live there. We're talking about people who live and are Danish and they live in Greenland at the moment. This is utterly different. Now, some interesting words have been used. I think Nora used the word leverage, and Russell, because he's a gent, used the word throwing his weight about. I would use the word bullying. And that's what's going on, and it's a bad way to negotiate, I think. The idea that this always works isn't true. But I think the point that Russell makes is also really important about the difficulty of getting the stuff out of the ground or where it is. It's dark much of the life there, it's cold. If investment was needed to get it out, that could have happened already.
Well, oil prices have to be sufficiently high to justify taking that oil out.
Absolutely, and therefore if you're trying to fiddle the market, that is a real problem, I think. But the real issue is what you said before. This can be done by negotiation, but you can't just take over Danish people's rights to live in their own country just for the sake of our security, because that we all need. And the House of Lords did a very good report on the Arctic 2 years ago where we made the case. And, there's no problem about putting more stuff in there. Either kit or people.
Charlotte, is the reason why this tariff thing has come back around again because it worked so exceptionally well for Trump the first time round? He pulled it off, didn't he? We all caved in, Europe caved in, Britain caved in, everyone caved in, and he must be sitting there thinking, I proved everyone wrong, tariffs give me what I want. Was that the issue here?
That's exactly what happened. He said today, I'm the tariff king, and he put a picture of himself on Truth Social with his hands like this, saying, I'm the tariff king.
Did he really? I haven't seen that.
So, I mean, he's had this little experiment with tariffs. It's absolutely worked. He's managed to bypass actually asking anyone for permission to just use tariffs. And, it's completely worked. He's very proud of it. He's showing off about it.
Yeah.
I'm the tariff king.
Yeah.
But remember, it's also still going to be voted by the Supreme Court, and we don't know what the Supreme Court's going to rule. And I think, interestingly, on this issue is that you have a lot of Republican senators are speaking out about it. A lot of them are too scared to say anything. But what they've said is that they will pass something in Congress to prevent him from wanting to even try to take Greenland by force. So I think most people are against the tariffs because at the end of the day, we do still have a cost of living crisis in the U.S. and who gets hurt first? It's the American people.
Yeah.
And then there'll be retaliation. American companies will get hurt. And I go back to your point, it is the art of his deal. Whether you call it leverage, bullying, throwing your weight around, that's Trump's style. We know it's his style, so we keep it in context. But I think there are so many moving parts on the chessboard right now. And I think with Russia and Ukraine still an outstanding issue and a very important issue, he may use this to try to get that peace deal done.
Yeah, this is fascinating. And I want to ask you all briefly, if you don't mind, a difficult question. I'll start with you, Nora. Do you think that Europe should go to war with America if they were to try and seize Greenland? Because Donald Trump has openly said he will take it by whatever means he needs to.
America will not support a war with its allies. That is the strongest Western democratic alliance that fights for all the freedoms, all the democratic pillars that we believe in. And yes, there's always hiccups along the way, but that will never be condoned.
Russell?
Well, it would be the immediate destruction of NATO, wouldn't it? So, and that has very, very grave implications, not just for us in Europe, but actually, I would argue, for the United States as well. So, look, it's not going to happen. Is there a circumstance under which Donald Trump invades Greenland? I think not.
No.
OK. Diane, just a slightly separate question to you then, perhaps, because we're probably all going to agree on that point. Do you think this is Europe's fault? He's warned us, Trump, even his first administration warned us we weren't investing in our military enough, we weren't putting enough money into NATO. We ignored those by all intents and purposes. We've only just started ramping up our military defence spending now. Has he proven that he can throw his weight around and we were foolish not to listen to them?
I think what he proves is that all of us were wrong after Russia invaded Crimea in 2014. The Americans as much as us, and I think we're all paying that penalty. But it wasn't just Europe that should have responded much more strongly than we did. I
think the fact he cited the dog sled is what exactly sums it up. Absolutely. He's trying to say, if you wanted to stop me, where's your dog sled? That's all you got.
Yeah.
So it's another kind of microscope on us and our defence forces.
Yeah, and again, I remember the time when he was laughed out of the United Nations with saying to the Germans, you know, you got to get off your reliance of Russian oil. And a few years later, look what happened to the German economy and their energy prices because they didn't listen and we went to war with Russia. There we go. But listen, we'll keep you posted on this story because who knows when more is going to happen. It's 2026, everybody. Things are going crazy, aren't they?